We're going up and down, over and over. It's the same old thing. Up and down, over and under.
All right. Well, Dallas, man, thank you for joining the show.
It's good to be here, babe. Good to be here.
Yeah. So 10-year-old me right now is like jumping through the ceiling. I was a diehard WCW Monday Night Nitro. We used to have wrestling parties. Do you know what I mean? And I would be diamond cutting people off the couch.
Nitro parties were everywhere, man. I mean, first of all, the fact that we actually got to compete with the WWF, now WWE at that time, but then got to basically kick their ass, for 83 weeks. Eric Bischoff does his own podcast called 83 Weeks. It was crazy, man. It was, when you think about that, I tried wrestling when I was 23. It didn't work out.
Ah, okay.
Got into, that's 1979. And I was so mad when the 80s came around and the WWF, it was WWWF, what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Started to explode.
Yeah.
And I was so mad that I didn't pay my dues. As much as I love the bar business, because it really was about the booze, the broads, and the party, it was about fun. Because I wasn't just working, I was running them. And it was the best. Like guys, play sports, they play in a band, they do whatever they can to get girls. There is no easier way to get girls than to run a nightclub. Zero. and at the highest level.
Right. Well, and you were in South Florida, no less.
Well, but I was in Jersey. I was in California. I was in South Florida. And that's where I really made my mark. But I originally made the big mark when I was a kid in Jersey.
Kidding.
North Jersey and Asbury Park, where the Stone Pony was one block away. That's where Bruce Springsteen would get up and play in the 70s and 80s. And I mean, he would just get up and play with bands.
Unbelievable.
He was the boss. He was the king of our area. Bon Jovi came through the same territory, Asbury Park. I know him since he was 15. I got pictures of him all through the years. And
no kidding.
The bottom line is that I was so mad when wrestling blew up, and I didn't stick with my goal, with my dream. So I just stopped watching wrestling. And then
So you had the dream to be a wrestler that early?
As a kid.
Wow. Okay.
Dream, And then I tried it at 23, but I only had 3 matches. I hurt my knee. I got an opportunity to run my first club. It was small, little rock and roll place. And I got swept away in the booze, the bras, and the party.
Yeah.
And like I said, wrestling blew up in the 80s. I was so mad I stopped watching until one day I was flicking the channels and I came across a dude with Gorilla Monsoon who had a leather jacket on and a do-rag and these crazy sunglasses and a boa, and he had the coolest voice ever. And I'm like, who is that? It was Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh, man.
And the
Governor.
first guy to come through the curtain, he had long hair, Fu Manchu, and a bag over his shoulder. And I'm like, who the hell is that? And then I watched the man, Jake Snake Roberts, his work in the ring, his interviews were so amazing. It sucked me back in as a fan.
Yeah.
And, that Halloween, I think I got dressed up like Jesse, and everybody knew who I was. And what had happened is I was running a nightclub in Florida, and Jake actually showed up at my club.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I've never heard this.
Yeah, if Tampa on the West Coast, and then Miami, that's 300 miles, and across Alligator Alley.
I did a couple of stints in spring break in Panama City. So.
What you can remember.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is Jake came in the club. And this club, I'm supposed to have 800 people in there, but I got like 1,200, 1,300 people, 6 bars. This was the big time.
Yeah.
And Jake came in, and I came around the back and said, "Hey, man, you Jake Snake Roberts?" And he's like, "Who wants to know?" I'm like, "The guy who runs this place." He goes, "Yes, what can I do for you?" I said, "What can I do for you? What are we drinking?" And that's how I met Jake. And he, of course, he didn't pay for any drinks after that.
Right.
And Ted DiBiase, the Bushwhackers, a lot of the boys, because between Tampa, like I said, and Miami, long ride. So why don't you stop off in Fort Myers? They're there every 6 months, and get the guy who takes care of you and doesn't charge you for any drinks.
Absolutely.
So that was a place to go. And it started getting me thinking. And that's when I came up with the idea. I was too old to be a wrestler. I was 31 at the time. But I could be a manager. And I created Diamond Dallas Page and the Diamond Exchange and the Diamond Dolls. It was all my imagination.
Yeah.
I think it was Einstein. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he basically said that there was nothing more powerful than your imagination. Yeah. And what you can imagine, so many little kids have such amazing imaginations, and so many people push them down. You're never going to do that. Yeah. Crazy. I mean, I listened to that my whole life. And every time I proved wrong, because I want to do something, because I imagine it and I can envision it. I can manifest that into a reality. So my goals are always like really high, and I might end up to the left, to the right, a little underneath, or I might just blow through it. And not a number of times. And I made a videotape, Ken, of me and 3 guys who wanted to be wrestlers. Not wrestlers, who wanted to be wrestlers.
Got it.
Called Big Bad John. Another I called Rock Hard Rick. Another guy worked the door for me. Well, actually, they all did. He worked the door for me, and he was a midget, and I called him Teddy Bear. And Diamond Dolls came out with him, and we did these promos. I was originally sending to MTV because they were doing a lot with wrestling at that time. And I had this guy, Smitty, who I wanted to do, like Big Smitty, the MTV wrestler. He looked like Curly from the Three Stooges, the whole deal. And Smitty passed. Smitty passed on it. Even though MTV was interested, he passed. And he was like 6'2" and 298, but he moved like a cat. He moved like Bam Bam Bigelow. And I was so mad that he didn't take the opportunity. It's sort of like slapped me upside the head and said, "Stop making dreams happen for other people.
Right.
You do this yourself." That's when I made that videotape, and I sent it to MTV, but I also sent it to the AWA. And 2 weeks later, a guy named Rob Russin called me up. And he's like, "Listen, Diamond, we saw your tape, and everybody they like it. We want to bring you and your boys in for a tryout, but we've got one question. We've showed it all around the office, and everybody likes your shtick, but no one's ever heard of you. Where are you guys working at?" Well, the truth is, Rob, none of those guys can wrestle. You were like, "What?" I said, "But I can manage while they were, training. No one knows how to get in. It's like a secret society."
Yeah.
And it was basically, "Don't call us, we'll call you."
But, no kidding.
Yeah. But this is how God has worked in my life on so many different ways, where sometimes if I just keep believing and keep moving towards it, the planets just line up for me.
Yeah.
And it's through a lot of hard work and a lot of belief and never giving up. So I was trying to think of another angle, what I was going to do. And Paul E. Dangerously, who today is better known as his real name, Paul Heyman.
Okay.
He left the AWA to go to the NWA, which was becoming WCW. Ted Turner was buying it and becoming World Championship Wrestling. So it had a void there for a young guy with energy that could talk. That's how I got my first break. Greg Gagne brought me in and he said, bring, those crazy clothes, because I wore leopard skin jackets, holes in my jeans, friggin' zebra skin boots, diamond rhinestone ties. I mean, I wore all that shit.
Yeah.
And he says, bring them and some of those hot looking girls, the Diamond Dolls.
Right.
One girl with me. And actually, it's funny because it was just up on my Instagram at Real DDP. And one of my daughters, Lexi, helps me with it. And
Okay.
she found this picture. And the reason why I know it's from the first day is because it's the only time that this girl, her name is Leanne.
That's amazing.
Way, that smoking hot blonde there, that's 30 years ago.
Right.
She is the head sales manager for Pfizer.
No kidding.
Yes. She is the top of we're still really good friends.
That's amazing.
Pyramid. But the bottom line is that's how I got my introduction. And then Dusty brought me in World Championship Wrestling. Not World Champion, into Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's where, very smaller group, he was trying to pop the territory. So Dusty had a lot of time on his hands, which was really unfortunate for me because I was only up there one day a week just to film TV. And he took me under his wing. He really liked me. And I tell everybody, it's not about who you know or who knows you. It's about who's willing to say they know you. And when
that's an important differentiator there.
Yeah, then when Dusty went to be the polka dotted guy in WWE, then he left there, came back to WCW. That's where I got my opportunity to come back to WCW.
Oh, so amazing. Well, it's like you said, the planets aligned, so to speak, but like luck does seem to follow hard work. Because I think there's a number of places in that story where most people would have said, well, I gave it a good shot. I gave it a good run. Time to pack it up again. You said something powerful there. And I fine stream that. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Like a lot of people think, it's got to be lucky. Like, no, lucky only takes you so far. Yeah.
You got to be constantly preparing.
Right.
Like I leave on Saturday to film a Western.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's the best. As far as writing, it's one of the best roles I've ever had. And the scenes I have are just friggin' awesome, especially the one monologue that I've got in this Western. And I've been working my ass off on it. Like when I went to go see my acting coach here in town, he was like, dude, you're shooting this in how long? I go, we're shooting this in a day. And then these other days are for the other spots. He goes, you're shooting all of this. I go, all that. It's like probably 7.5 pages. And of the dialogue, I have 85% of it.
All in one day.
All in one day. And 75% of the dialogue on those 7.5 pages is me.
Yeah.
The way it all comes together. And you got to really prepare for that.
Right.
You just don't go there and, I'll wing it.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll improv. Well, and, it makes me, you said something there too with, it's like when that door does open, like you need to be ready to just kill it. Right. And that's the preparation part. It's like people might get a lot of different opportunities over the course of their life, but like when it came, they weren't ready to knock it out of the park.
Or they were giving something too early.
Right.
And they really didn't appreciate it because they didn't have to work that hard for it. So all of a sudden it's over. Because if you get a 2-3 year run at something, especially in the entertainment world, that just sets you up for life.
Yeah.
You know, if it's 5 or 6 years or whatever, I mean, it can really create a name for you. Like, I was super lucky in the fact that when me and Kevin Nash were tag teaming together as nobodies in 1991, and I tore my rotator cuff, and then I was out, and then I knew Bill Watts was going to let me go, so I quit before he had a chance to let me go. He told me, well, I'll be back in a year, you know, after I worked the independent scenes and really put the work in, and I will be back, and you're going to want me to come back.
Right.
And he wasn't there when I came back, but when I was at the WWE Hall of Fame one year, we were both in the green room, and when he saw me, he came storming across the room, Diamond Dallas Page, and he just put me over. I was just like, my jaw at the ground. Here he's going in the Hall of Fame, Cowboy Bill Watts, and he's telling me the story from when I said, before you let me go, let me tell you, I'm leaving. And here's what you're going to do. And I enjoyed watching you do it all.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then he said something that I hadn't really heard yet. Because people were hearing about what I was doing with DDPY, you know, now known as DDPY.
Yeah,
But he said to me, he goes, I really love what you're doing right now. And that was super cool.
Well, and you know, we started talking about this a little bit before. I mean, if you would let me, I could probably talk to you about wrestling for hours because I just, you know what I mean? I was going again through your track record. It's just unbelievable. But, you know, the other thing is I feel like the stuff that you're doing now might be what leaves the most lasting legacy. Like, it's just, and let me tell you this, you know, in preparation for this, I was going through your blog posts. And I finally had to get out of there because I was choking up at every video I watched because the transformations were so powerful. I go downstairs to get a coffee. My wife's like, what's going on with you? I was like, it's just Dallas. It's just so inspiring. But it's just incredible the stuff you're doing.
I was just sitting with my buddy. He was a chiropractor. He's an MD. He's got his own radio shows. We were just going through the program because he's starting my new program. And he's also one of those guys who was one of the Christian athletes when the strongmen stuff.
Yeah.
Dr. Asa Andrews. And I was taking him through these new jacked straps. And their blood flow, BFR, blood flow restriction training.
Oh, yeah.
You jack them up, and the pump you get, the muscle you build, they were mainly developed. A Japanese fellow originally developed them. And right up till now, they have been mainly used for rehabilitation.
Okay.
Get blood in the area because that's how you heal. You know, when it flushes out, then you rush it back in. And that's what helps you heal. And the straps are for your biceps, upper biceps, but it's not just your bicep. If you're working your shoulder, it's going to work that. You're working your trap, you're working your back, your biceps. You know, I mean, every muscle in your upper body. Then they have ones for the legs too. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him, you know, what I wanted him to do because he's going to start this program that's on my DDP Yoga Now app, and I call it DDPY Jacked. And there's 30 minutes workouts and there's 55-minute workouts, and they're on the app. It's the only place you can get them.
I think I just did one right before this. I was going to tell you they gave me access to try it, and I've been having so much fun. But yeah, I just did like the shoulders, and arms.
Straps.
I didn't have the straps. No, I think I'm thinking of the right one. But
if it said jacked, and you got a hell of a workout,
yeah,
what it is. And one of the things, and I don't want to make it sound like all the stuff we're doing is really challenging. Yeah, that stuff is.
Yeah.
If you go all the way back to where we begin, they start in bed. And I had a guy, Eric Bischoff's son, Garrett, is a good friend of mine. And he is working with this group of bikers. He's a biker himself that really help. They help kids who have been physically abused by their parents. You know, they take them away.
Yeah.
And so the kid can feel safe. These bikers will put like 2 or 3 guys, you know, outside the door.
Wow.
Like, these kids feel safe then because they know these guys are going to, you know, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You know, and one of them, and his name is JD, he's 524 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And Garrett had gotten a hold of me because he wanted to know if I'd help him. And I said, he's a friend of yours, of course. But if you knew how many people I helped that I've never met them before, I just see that they're putting the work in. And one of the things I created is a thing called The List. And The List, it's a lifestyle change, especially for people who are beat up or really broken down.
Yeah.
Because you really want to learn what real food is. I don't want to tell you, here, watch this documentary, watch that documentary. It makes you put the work in if I'm going to help you. And it's a series of things. And it's on my app. You go to user guide, you go underneath, you hit the list, everything comes up for you.
Ah, okay. I'll check that out.
And this guy, JD, had already told me he'd started. And he started with my bed workouts. Because even the chair ones were going to be too challenged for him at that moment. So I encouraged him to do 2 bed workouts and do 2 chair workouts a week.
Yeah.
Because eventually I'm going to get you off the chair, and using the chair would stand strong. So then you use the chair for balance. And my point is DDPY, which is what I call it now. I'm really even more than DDP Yoga, because I want people to stop calling it just yoga, because it's not. It's creating this completely different, but will give you the same or even better results than yoga actually will, because of the fusion that I put together. But when I heard this big guy, who's only 42 years old, started with my bed flex workouts, I was like, okay, hey, DDPY meets you where you are. So you go from those workouts to stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know? And that's all I do anymore is the jacked workouts.
Yeah.
And I'm coming off I'm kind of soft right now because I got COVID.
Oh, no kidding. I'm sorry to hear that.
That lasted a good 3 weeks.
Oh,
and then I had to have surgery on my stomach because I wanted to get rid of reflux.
Yeah.
And a hiatal hernia. So they had to pull my stomach out of my diaphragm, fix that, and then they put this links, which goes around your esophagus. So the food will open up. It's like magnets. And they're
no way.
A ring. And then there's a steel thing through it to hold them together if they open too far. But the bottom line is they open it up, the food goes in, and then they close.
And then so it can't come back up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's really worn my voice out over the years, all the acid reflux for the last 28 years. So I've been taking those. When you take like a Prilosec or any antacids, it's going to kill the dragon in your stomach, okay, but it's also going to nullify the acid that God put in there so that it can break down the food, it can digest the food, it can kill bacterias that come into your stomach. So you're really doing yourself a disservice by doing that. But
right, because it does a lot of good,
The dragon in your stomach or that. Well, now there's this surgery. It's very new. And, when I went on YouTube and started to really look and see what people said, everyone said, real pain in the ass the first 4 or 5 weeks. Really anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks. Every one of them said at the end, though, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over again.
Really?
Because so worth it once your body, because what's happening right now around those magnets, just like if you got shoulder, which I've done both shoulders, both knees, twice on the left. When you have surgery, even if it's something as simple as scoping, well, now there's going to be scar tissue
Right.
around that area. And when the scar tissue happens, now you've got to go and break that up.
Well, and that's one of the things I heard in a lot of your workouts is, you know, as you're kind of moving through these like different ranges of motion, you keep talking about breaking up the scar tissue. And I thought, man, that's such an important piece of this that a lot of people just don't touch on. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the workouts you put together is, I mean, one, they're incredibly inspiring, but they're very approachable. And I think the same way where like you're helping folks meet them where they are, whether it be working out in bed, standing up, using a chair, doing something advanced like the jacked, in terms of how you're explaining things too, it's making it really approachable and you're meeting folks where they are. So they're not, probably, intimidated, right? Because I imagine that's why a lot of these, programs that folks fail is because like they don't feel they're ready or they feel insecure around it. And I feel like you do a great job of bringing people in.
That's powerful. You said it, because what happens, and again, you don't know this until it actually really happens. And I've been doing it for so long now that I'm constantly, I'm sorry if that little noise in the background, but both these guys are out there blowing stuff around that they're like blowing stuff around. Like one guy blowing, dude, you're good. The bottom line is that I've had so many people say to me, first of all, they thought I was going to kill them. Oh my God, I can work out with you, you're going to kill me. Like nothing could be farther from the truth. Now, did I used to do that? Yes, I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
Ortiz,
a
friend of mine, he had just had back surgery a month before that. He had said something very nice about me in SportsIllustrated.com. And I called him up. We started talking. And I said, listen, dude, I know you're going to want to fight for a long time. This is like 16 years ago. And I said, you need to do my workout. This is how I got back in the ring when I blew my back out. And I ruptured my L4 and L5. 3 spine specialists told me I was done. You've had the surgery now, and it's better now than it was then. I didn't do surgery. I wanted to heal my body. You need to do my program. And he said, well, come on down. So I get there. And back then I would make the mistake of asking people, so give me a level. Do you want me to, you want to just start off slow? Do you want to hit with your medium workout? Or do you want me to bring it? Like, you tell me. Whatever you can do, I'll do. He's like, bring it.
Yeah, I imagine Tito, he probably, even with a hurt back, he probably can't shut that off.
Yeah. But the bottom line was, I really did explain to him that I really want to help you heal this and strong. And then he was strong. Yeah. And he made it all through the workout. And then I never heard from him again. So I bet you like 7 years went by. And he was a Bellator at the time. And I was going to see one of my buddies fight. And I went to get on the elevator, and he's on the elevator. He's like, DDP. And a big hug. I said, okay, dude, why didn't you ever call me back about the program? He said, honestly, that shit was too hard. I mean, you killed me.
Really?
Workout. I go, bro, I'm 20 years older than you.
Yeah.
And way more beat up than you. You told me you wanted me to bring it.
Right.
So I did. So what I learned out of that was like, don't ever do that again. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I want them to walk away feeling like, wow, I feel like I can do this all over again.
Yeah.
I feel great. And one of the biggest compliments I've gotten is when I meet people who have gone through this transformation and literally, were really beat up and lost hundreds, not 100 pounds, hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
And they've said to me that the way you made me feel like I could do this, like you weren't talking down to me. You were trying to inspire me to believe that I could do it. And you showed me it was okay to step in. It was okay to lower to a knee.
Yeah.
That's what I encourage everyone. I don't as much on jacked. I'll still say it, but it's like you shouldn't be doing this workout unless you've done the other stuff.
Right.
But the other stuff's going to prepare you for this, and then you're going to be wanting to go more. You know,
Yeah.
So, again, you learn lessons as you go through life, right? And you said something earlier about this overshadowing my wrestling career. And I actually said that to a guy named Brian Alvarez, who works for Meltzer.
Okay.
And we were doing an interview, and this was about, God, how many years ago? It's like I went in the Hall of Fame in 2000. I guess it was about 12 years ago.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And
so even back then.
Yeah. And he said to me, he said, so where is Diamond Dallas Page 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And I said, 5 years from now, I will be the new Jack LaLanne meets Tony Robbins meets straight Richard Simmons. And I said, I honestly believe that at some point, what I'm doing with my whole program, today known as DDPY, I think it's going to overshadow my wrestling career. And he's like, what? Like, again, nobody still believed in it. It took 8 years to be an overnight success in wrestling.
Yeah.
And it literally took 8 years when I started to make this, not just working out, when I started the beginning stages of making this a business. It took 8 years to come together. There's a book called Outliers.
Oh, it's a fantastic book.
And if you go back and look at the people who did these amazing things that people said couldn't be done, there's like a really good chance that they'd worked about 10,000 hours to get there, right?
Right.
And if you look at it, I worked at least that much. In my wrestling career, I wanted it to happen so much earlier, but the bottom line was I really wasn't ready. Not for what was to come.
Yeah.
But when it came, and not the beginning of 1996, a lot of people know I didn't start wrestling till I was 35 and a half.
Which is just so incredible.
And I'd already been in the business for 3.5 years, 4 years at that time. And, back with the AWA in 1988. My career didn't start to take off until 1996. I was 40. My career didn't explode until the end of 96, going into 1997. And when that thing exploded, the NWO exploded.
Yep.
Wrestling exploded, the Monday Night Wars. They were already on for a while, but that's where we started winning.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. And so Brian said to me, he said, you honestly believe that your yoga program? I said, don't call it that. He goes, all right, back then I called it YRG. He said, your YRG, you honestly believe it's going to overshadow your wrestling career? He goes, man, that's a bold statement. I said, yeah. I said, I know it is, but you have to understand, bro. There's a video that I'm working on right now that's with this disabled veteran. I'm doing it with his son. And it never got viral. It maybe did 100,000 views, which is considered going viral. It never really exploded until I got with my business partner, Steve Yu. And we rebranded the company DDP Yoga. It ain't your mama's yoga. And first 3 months, we weren't making any money, but making some.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is I had $548,000 of my own money in when it finally took off. But Jericho had started.
So you'd pushed all in. Not to say that's all you have, but I mean that is a substantial financial investment, like money where your mouth is, so to speak.
Well, I've got a new documentary. You've seen Resurrection of Jake the Snake, right?
Yeah, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But yeah.
Come back to that. But that's our first documentary.
Yeah.
Our next documentary will be out in about 2 months or a month, I'm hoping.
Okay.
On Amazon Prime. That's where Resurrection of Jake the Snake is. If you haven't seen it on Amazon Prime, well, it's really.
I'll link to it.
It's on a bunch of platforms, but that's just one of them. But the new one's called Relentless, and it's a document from the day I blew my back out, which was right at the beginning of 1999. We document from there to today and this journey. And we stop it. It finishes up January of 2020.
Okay.
2020, January. That's where we put a button on it so we can just finish it up and finish editing it and stuff.
Right.
But it's super powerful.
Oh, man. I can't wait.
And I believe that is something, that in Resurrection will be around long after I'm gone. And at this point, our app has so many subscribers. And like you said, all you have to do is go anywhere near us and see the insane amount of transformations that are so inspirational, they make you weep.
Oh, man. And that is not an understatement. And I'm not a big crier, although anything involving sports and inspiration might get me. But just some of these transformations. Well, and that's actually, 2 points here. One, when I'm trying to remember how I saw Resurrection. It might have just been on like Netflix at the time. And I was looking for something to watch while I worked out in my basement. And it was so powerful. My dad, who has since passed, unfortunately, was battling lung cancer and had become pretty sedentary, had a bunch of issues. And I was like, hey, Dad, whatever you're doing, stop. Watch this documentary. And, I used that as a tool to try and get him to get himself inspired and see that it was possible. Like, that's how moving it was for me personally. And that was now like 3-4 years ago. And lo and behold, he did start working out and he did start making a transformation. And unfortunately, the cancer ended up getting him, but that's just how powerful that documentary is. And just so many other transformations that I've, had the pleasure to watch. So the stuff that you're doing is just so incredibly inspiring for sure.
Yeah. And that's I'm sitting here with my buddy, Dr. Asa Andrews. He's a good friend of mine. And he was in town, so we wanted to come by and just catch up. And he's one of those power lifter dudes that I used to do the Strength for Christ stuff, and super strong guy. And he started using my bands, and he's been getting ready to do the DDPY Jacked. So I was literally taking him through the whole app because we never really went through it. And his mind was blown that I took that Bluetooth heart monitor that was on his chest and had it come up on the app.
Right.
So you can see where your heart rate is.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And when we start the workout, the heart rate's going to come up on the TV so you can see where you are, during that time. Am I 80, 100, 150? Am I too high? Am I too low? And then at the end of the workout, it's going to become a video game, and it's going to say how long you were not in your zone, or over your zone, how many calories you burned. So it's really an amazing tracking machine on top of that. And that blew him away.
Yeah.
And then we went to Facebook. And I tell everybody, don't listen to a word I say about my program. Don't even go to my site. Go to the guys on Facebook, DDP Yoga as one word. And they have a picture of me and then the 6 different pictures that I want you to take. Because you can't fake those pictures.
Yeah.
Where, 250 or 3 or 350 or 4 or 5 or 600 pounds. And you're in the positions, and then you're 20, 30, 100, year, 2 years later, you're in those same positions.
Yeah.
But you're ridiculously supple. In other words, you've gotten back your mobility. You've increased your strength, your physiology. You can't fake that.
Yeah.
So that's why I do that. I was taking him through the Facebook page. I've been so blown away, and I've been so busy a lot of times. I would forget to go on because it's a members only. I don't have anything to do with it. I never go on my sites to see what's happening. There are people who do that. I want to go to where the regular people are. Maybe, are just, they found this site and they start to wear their heart on their sleeve.
Yeah.
And then I get to watch them. And then I started doing fabulous Facebook Fridays on my app, just reading what someone wrote, showing their pictures. And these aren't like extreme one extreme to another. They're there, but I love telling the stories about the people who are 3 months in, 8 months in, and they're maybe a third of the way through or half the way through their journey.
Right.
And how powerful they've become. How much, boom, all of a sudden they're here and they feel more confident. And Jake, when I moved Jake in to my home, and I could do that because I wasn't living with any woman, but the goddamn truth, the woman I'm with today, I can move anybody in I want. She'd go, let's do it. Because we speak the same language. And she gets it. And she's a yogi and she broke her back twice. Once in a car accident, once when she fell out of a tree because a limb hit her and she dropped 15 feet. And,
jeez.
And we'd already known each other years before this, and we hadn't touched each other in a long time, but she started doing not just yoga, she started doing DDP yoga.
Cool.
Help her build extra strength for her back and break up the scar tissue. And it's amazing to me what an unbelievable physical specimen she is as far as what she's overcome because of the immobility of breaking your back, not once, twice.
Right.
But she would be cool with anybody that I moved in here. But going on that, I took Asa on that Facebook site and I started reading stuff. And he was like, these people put this out on Facebook. I'm like, yes, bro, it's a no judgment zone.
Yeah.
You gotta read it. And I'm just blown away. Like that's one of the things besides resurrection that I'm the most proud of.
Oh, cool.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
They did it, but they're doing it from the stuff that I'm teaching them.
Yeah.
Hey,
let me, man, yeah, it's just, it's so motivating. And, like we've been talking about, no matter where you're at in life. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I asked you today is, what is the difference? Because some of these transformations, like you said, I saw one today, I think it was like 530 pounds down to, lost over 200 pounds in a year is incredible. What is that difference that causes someone to actually make that life altering change? Have you noticed over time that there's some trait or something that's happened where a person finally really makes that change? Because a lot of these people are trying to break habits for maybe, they've been doing for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe their whole life.
Dude,
Um,
some people need to do it gradually. And when they do it gradually and they don't know why they're really doing it, they oftentimes do not succeed.
yeah.
They don't have the support system. That's what that Facebook site is. I have another one called teamddpyoga.com. That's another one. But that Facebook is so organic, and people will write comments, and they can't believe the response they get from the other people, the outpour of love. But I go on there and hit it's the encouragement once they get going. But to me, when I've found guys who have done it without ever meeting me, they went to the list.
Huh.
And they found that list because they heard me talking about it somewhere. Like someone could hear it right here on the show.
Yep.
They could go get the app 7 days for free to try it. I'm going to try to sell you. It's part of it. Like, it's for free to try.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, just kill it. Because if you're not going to put work in, I don't want your money. Doesn't mean anything now. I don't want your investment unless you're going to invest in you. I want you to do it because you're really going to put the work in. And they may have heard about the list. And they said, didn't he say user guide? They're going to find and go, boom. I'm going to do all that first. Because anybody that I see that's like this one girl named Stephanie Kelly, she's on that page. And I was just showing Asa. Again, this is a guy who's a chiropractor and a MD, and a strong man.
Yeah.
And I come across this girl, Stephanie. And Stephanie started 300 plus pounds. The only reason I know who she is because I saw, it wasn't just her post. I saw her, they made like a before and after picture in the thing, but it's not like the physical, meaning it's not the weight transformation because they're only in 6 months and she's over 300 pounds when she starts.
It's going to take some time.
She picks her foot up. Let's see what I can do here. But you can see me here. So
yeah.
Just imagine my foot's just a little bit off the ground. And that's the first picture.
Yeah.
Next to that, she's got the other picture so you can see that I'm
man.
on anything. She's got that foot pulled over her head.
Incredible.
And she's been doing now I read about her. And I see, I'm so excited. I've never been a workout person. I've never been able to stick to anything like this. She goes, but this time it's just different. And, I started at this weight, over 300 pounds. Now I'm under 300 and I'm like down 38 pounds in 6 months. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, if I would have been working with her, if she would have found the list, which she didn't, she did it from cutting back on her eating. And I know at some point she's going to hit a wall, and it'll be a hard wall, because until let's just go back before they genetically changed the food. And I'm going to go for another 15 minutes past this. So I'm waiting for when Paige calls me, then you got 5 minutes.
Awesome, man. Sounds good.
By the way, my girlfriend's name is Paige. My real first name is Paige until I changed it to Dallas Page. I don't know train of thought here. So the bottom line is what they did to the food. People can think whatever they want to think. I'm good with it. But I know from work, from my own work. I don't know from what the government tells me or this site tells me or that site tells me, because I can give you 1,000 articles who will tell you how great genetically modified food is for you. And I'll show you another 1,000 that tells you it is poison.
Right.
All right. All I know is before genetically modified food in 1996. Let's go back to 1986. I dare you to find me a 300-pound woman anywhere. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay? There might be one here, one there, but there sure as hell wasn't 400-pound women.
Right.
There are a lot of them out there too. There's 600-pound women. Right? They got a show about it.
Right.
Men, in 1984, I think it was when the Chicago, I could be wrong about the date, but I'm pretty sure maybe it was 86, one of those years, when the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl shuffle.
The refrigerator went through the line and he's over 300 pounds. Like, that was a big deal.
Right. The fridge.
Today, high school kids are over 300 pounds on the line.
Yeah, no, that is very true.
The 500-pound guys, you could never find a 500-pound guy. 500-pound guys are everywhere today. What has changed?
Yeah.
The food. So when I get, and they're beat up and they're depressed, when Jake Roberts and Scott Hall moved in my house, the first thing they did, they didn't know it, but they stopped eating garbage. They started gluten-free, dairy-free, GMO-free, organic.
Yeah.
Because that's all that's in my house.
Yeah.
And they weren't going out to eat. They weren't working on the road. So the first thing that happened is they started to feel better.
Right.
And then I could get them working out, taking the time, and then building. And then I'd be in interviews with Jake. And because, the Yahoo Sports interviewers, HBO Sports, Deadspin. Everybody wanted to know, like, what I was doing, bringing these two guys who were addicts in my house. I didn't look at it like that. These guys were my brothers. Both of those guys were very inspirational in my career.
Right.
So, the least I could do is help give back.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is Jake would say how the program gives him confidence. And I really didn't understand that right away. And after one of the interviews, I said, so what do you mean, Jake? Why does the program give you confidence? And he said, well, first of all, I was over 300 pounds. He goes, when I lost that first 10 pounds, he goes, D, that was like a win for me. I ain't had a win in 20 years. I lost the next 10 and the next 10. And then, I couldn't get up and get down. And then you showed me how to use that chair. And then I didn't even need to use that chair. Like, it was all those things that built confidence. And that's what's happening with people who do my program. That's why we have such crazy results. I find people every day that their whole lives are changed. And I may have never saw them until right then.
Yeah.
So
what an impact. It's
powerful, man. And, it is what it is. And I do what I do because I love what I do,
Let me ask you a question, because that was one of the things, and I know that you've actually, like you alluded to a little bit, worked with some like very high level athletes as well, with regards to rehab. But what was I just watching today? I think it's a new one, the We Can Rebuild You, the Rebuild program. And I watched you help this older woman who couldn't even get herself off the ground to eventually get to a point where she was able to get up with ease and she was able to sit cross-legged. And one of the things that struck me was, and I want your take on this, but you seem to have this knack for figuring out how to modify things so that anyone can do it. Is that something that's been developed through all the thousands of clients you've had? Is that something that you just kind of like intuitively pick up and problem solve? Like, what is that process like for you? Because it seems so critical to some of these incredible transformations that you guys have documented.
When I first blew my back out, my wife at the time, Kimberly, was like, you've got to try yoga. And I'm like, I'm not doing effing yoga.
Yeah.
At some point, she talked me into it. And there was no such thing as modifications. So I had to figure them out. And within 3 weeks, I was starting to figure them out. And I was feeling a difference. Like, wow, this is helping me. Now I'm doing rehab too. And I've rehabbed both shoulders, both knees. Now I'm rehabbing my back. I know all that stuff from doing it. So I said, instead of doing the back stuff, why don't I just mix it with the yoga stuff?
Yeah.
And then why don't I mix in old school calisthenics? And then something, before there was DDPY Jacked, there was no bands, and it was just engaging as you're moving.
Which is a lot tougher than it looks, by the way. I'm in really good shape. And I was like, yeah, let me give this a try. And my wife and I were doing it together. And both of us were like, I'm like sweating, and I really work out. I lift heavy. And I was like, oh, this will be a breeze. By the end of it, I was like, damn. I was like, if I wish I had a heart rate monitor hooked up, because I'm like, it's up there, which is really, really cool. And I think I adjusted my back like 3 different times.
What's better than that?
Yeah,
Think about that.
Exactly.
Going, I just adjusted my back. I love when
right. Right.
I figured it out for myself first. And then as time would go on, I just figured out I have to be in front of the person.
Okay.
Like to feel their energy and what they're willing to do. And then because I don't push anybody. There's no such thing as no pain, no gain. Pain means pain. Like, how do we work around that? And I can just do it, man. And that's when people want to get next to me and actually work with me. I'm sitting here with Asa, the doc. Yeah. And I'm taking him through the Facebook site. And this girl, Stephanie Kelly, I started to tell you this. She is doing so great. Her form is so amazing. And she talked about how she's having trouble sweeping her leg through. She's never been able to do it. Sweeping her leg through into a lunge. Yeah. Because, she's still big. She's not where she wants to be yet. But she hasn't had the mobility yet exactly. And I just looked at my buddy Asa and I go, let's go make her a video right now. And I made the video, the same thing I did for Arthur. I showed him how to, instead of sweep that leg straight through, sweep it around. Right. And as you're going around, when you got it, just grab your leg and pull it the rest of the way. Yeah. And that's how Arthur did it. And I know that's how she'll do it. And I said, go into the down dog and lift your right hand up. Now lift your left hand up. Now try to lift it and hold it for 3 seconds. And because she's strong, but she might not think she's strong enough. Well, we see, wow, I can do this with just one arm. You don't want to stay there too long. But again, to sweep your leg through, you got to move your hand anyway. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It just gets, and I would have put it up there as a post, but I just sent it right to her. And you could tell, she wouldn't have figured that out for a long time. So it would have been like hitting the wall. Well, sometimes you got to go around the wall. Right. And I know she might even put them together and then it'll explain, and then people will see, oh God, I can do that. Mm-hmm. That's what every video, I'll give you the best example. You're going to love this. Yeah, please. You love sports stuff. What's the number 1 sports movie of all time? Hoosiers or Rudy? Oh, man. Well, Rudy saw the video of disabled veteran Arthur Borman. Oh, no kidding. And when he saw it, a friend of ours named Roman Rosel, who is the oldest walk-on to D1 wrestling. It used to be Randy Couture. Now it's Roman. They actually started at ASU. And he went to this college thing, and now he's on a quest to be a professional wrestler at 35. Okay. Bottom line is, though, I'm helping him. And what does he do is he sends a video to Rudy, who met him and loves him. Yeah. And Rudy's like, I have to do this. So Roman calls me up. He goes, Rudy says he saw the video. He has to do this. He's 72. He's beat up. He's got 50 pounds to lose. I said, give me his number right now. Awesome. I'm a huge mark for Rudy. I like the guy who's the actor. I love the guy who actually saw the vision. Yeah. And within 4 days, my business partner, Steve, you and I were on a plane flying to Vegas. And we spent 3 days with Rudy. And we my girl Paige went in and friggin' redid his kitchen and changed the way he ate, changed the way he thought. Again, I said, if you can just give me 33% of Rudy, who got into Notre Dame, right? You own this. Because Rudy's a visionary. He's the first one I've ever really met that did something really amazing that only he saw. Like I did it with wrestling, and I'm doing it with DDPY, and eventually I'm going to be doing it as an actor.
Yeah.
I acted for 22 years. Something's going to happen for me in the next year that could change my life. And it's a series that's going to be on Netflix. It could change my life. The only reason I want to do it, first of all, I love acting. I don't want it for a full-time occupation. I just want to be a working actor.
Yeah.
To show at 64 that I can be like, I want to be an A-list actor. That's it. I don't need to be The Rock. The Rock is the man.
Yeah, he's done pretty well for himself.
Star in the world, one of us. And because of that, he has helped John Cena escalate to a whole nother plus level.
He's everywhere.
He's amazing. Batista is killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, all my boys out there are they're really showing, hey man, these guys can act.
Right.
They're entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
You know? So what we were doing was acting in front of 20,000 people a night. Oh, there's no cut.
Right.
Do it again.
Improv and just like repetition. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you were saying too, those 10,000 hours. It's
10,000 hours.
Yes, now it's a studio, it's a different setup, but it's like, to your point, those guys have been doing it live. They've been doing theater, to put it another way, in front of 20,000 people, how many days a year? So it really does make a lot of sense.
70. When I was in my prime I was running 270 plus nights a year. And doing Hollywood Square, The Tonight Show, Greg Kilborn, spot shows in little movies and stuff. Whatever it took to ride that tsunami. And now this time I'm sitting back and I'm enjoying it. And I've been very, 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 very successful with my program and what we've been doing because we're organic and we're real. But it never happens without the work I put into wrestling.
Yep.
It never happens because my ex-wife, who's in Relentless, you'll hear her talking, because people trust what Diamond Dallas Page has to say.
Right.
Because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try to sell you on shit. I want you to want to do it because you're inspired. When we were on Shark Tank, my business partner, Steve Yu.
I was just reading about this.
Yeah, he's amazing. And Mr. Wonderful. Remember, we filmed for an hour for them to get 8 minutes, which was amazing for us. But one of the things that you never saw, Mr. Wonderful said, in this space, this fitness space, before the internet, there's two companies who made money. Beachbody and Gaia, a yoga company.
Okay.
Everyone else, you could fill the Astrodome with how many DVDs came from athletes and actors trying to get a quick sell on their workout.
Yeah.
He goes, how are you guys being successful in this spot where nobody is? And Steve said, we inspire people. And Mr. Wonderful went, yeah, that's great. How do you make the money?
Right.
I go,
show me the dollars and cents.
Yeah, bro, we inspire people. That's what we do. Everything else will work out.
Yeah. Well, and I love, that you said again, like the wrestling, it took 8 years. Like the overnight success was 8 years of hard work and like just blood and sweat. And then I think a lot of people probably wouldn't realize the DDPY, again, like you said, another 8 years. And so it's just I think that in itself is really inspiring. Like, one, have big dreams, but be willing to put in the work for a long time, especially when someone like Mr. Wonderful says the odds are not in your favor. You know what I mean? What would you say? The Superdome with DVDs?
Right.
I mean, that's basically saying like, it's not going to work out for you.
So let me tell you, I'm in Hollywood and I'm studying to be an actor with a guy named Howard Fine, who's an amazing, amazing human being and acting coach. And he's all about putting the work in. You don't have to be the actor. He will help you, but you have to put the work in.
Right.
And Howard, God, where was I going with that? Oh, man. Talking about putting the work in. Oh, damn it. My ADD kicked in. And normally I'm really good with it because I've been doing this NAD, this intravenous.
Oh, yeah.
For your brain.
I wanted to ask you about that because I just saw, maybe we can, if you don't mind, we can switch to that really quick.
Sure.
I just saw you did 11 and a half 10-second push-ups or something right before your 65th birthday. So I do a fair amount of research before these things, but this one was just a blast for me. And I was like, damn, this guy has stayed in such incredible shape. And then you start talking about 75, 85, 95. What are you doing in addition to, all your training and eating right? Like, are there other things like what you just mentioned, NAD, that you're doing, with regards to longevity?
Kevin Nash said it the best. Someone said, how is he doing this? How is he holding back the hands of time like this? He goes, What is he doing? And Nash said, because Nash is another guy who does all this stuff too. Nash said, you probably should ask him, what isn't he doing? Like, I start every day. I was up at 7 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
I grabbed my iPad, iPhone, I sealed them off, and I got in my hyperbaric chamber for an hour and a half.
Oh, awesome.
And mine goes to 12 PSI, which means 30 feet below sea level.
Oh, wow.
And also at that point, the oxygen will break the blood-brain barrier. So that's oxidizing your brain.
Oh, interesting.
Any wrestling fans out there, they all know who Daniel Bryan is. Well, Daniel had so many concussions that they were like, you're done. No more. We're not going to be responsible.
Yeah.
He found hyperbaric chambers out in California where he lives. Every morning and every evening, hour and a half. Now he's out there bouncing around like a pinball again.
Wow.
It's so rare. But there's a guy who really puts the work in, Daniel Bryan. I hope he's continuing to do it because he needs to. But I'll go right from that to my infrared sauna, where at that point, my girl brings me down some oatmeal, blueberries, cashews, and bananas. I'm going to eat that in 140-degree temperature.
Oh, so you have the breakfast in the sauna?
Yeah, because I want to do two things at one time.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Plus, I'm studying my lines,
Right.
And then I go into the steam room, and I do 15 minutes of voice therapy.
Ah, okay. Right, because the acid reflux has been damaging. Yeah,
all that. Now, if I didn't have this surgery, I would have went from the hyperbaric chamber to the mat. And then I would have maybe, if I had time for the sauna, I'd hit it. I absolutely would have hit the steam.
Yeah.
And then my days are mapped out. I eat super clean. Yesterday, my girl Paige and I, we did what's it called? Whatever the bag is.
Like a saline?
Yeah, it's saline, but it's more than that. I can't remember what it has in it. But I do know we put the extra vitamin C in there because you eat all the oranges or take all the vitamin C pills you want. You're not going to get a tenth of what you get from that going right into your system.
Yeah.
But it's water soluble. So within the next week or so, it's out. So we do it again.
Yeah.
And I've got a girl who's my girl, Paige, at this point, she can almost get the thing every time. So
really? Okay.
There who's teaching her. And then we'll do the NAD. And, I'm connected in the people that will sell me that stuff at cost. So
nice. The NAD is very interesting.
Bill, it's much less. So
got it.
And I'm going to buy bulk, because I want to get the best price. And again, like you said, I'm not preparing for 65. I've been saying this since I was 59. I'm not preparing for 65 because that's going to be here tomorrow. Well, guess what? Before I know it, it'll be April 5th and it'll be 65.
Right.
I'm preparing for 75, 85, 95, even 105. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to, I want to be mobile. I want to be strong. I want to still be able to pull my foot up over my head if I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Like when you can do that, your core strength is at a different level.
Yeah, that's it's funny because I can relate to that so much. And I've actually said as much on this podcast. It's like, look, I view, because I like to set big goals, and like some of this stuff is a little wacky, a little out there, but it keeps me interested. But for me, and it sounds like for you as well, it's like it's an investment in your health. Like the workout that you do today is an investment, not just in like all the benefits that you get short term, but like you have a very similar vision. Like at 90, 100, I don't just want to just be like kept alive. I want to be active. I want to be moving around. I want to be playing with grandkids,
Yeah, 100%.
So
Great.
I completely align with you on that.
Great grandkids,
Exactly.
To me, it really just comes down to, putting that little extra time. And I'm also I'm like the greatest multitasker ever. Like
Yeah.
I was just talking to Sting because that guy, Kid Roman, had sent me his, what match really got him the way he really noticed me. And it was a match that me and Sting had early on 1996.
Okay.
I want to back this up.
Yeah, please. I feel like I might have watched this. So
Michael P.S. Hayes and Jimmy Jam Garvin, two of the greatest talkers of all time, at the end of their career together, had me managing them. And Dusty decided, and he didn't tell me, Magnum told me. He came up and told me at TV, he said, listen, we can't let you manage guys anymore. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? He goes, you didn't do anything wrong. But the hair, the clothes, the bling, the rap, the dolls, it's taking too much attention away from the boys. And they're the ones who draw the money, not the manager. I go, well, I'll break it down. He goes, no. I go, it's not your fault. I go, so you're telling me I'm too over the top for professional wrestling? And he started laughing. He goes, as a manager, yes.
Oh, no
what
way.
What is put you in a pair of tights and boots and see if you can do this. And you asked me earlier, what makes someone click? What makes someone say, I am done living this 260, 300, 350, 390, 400, 500, 600 pound life.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm changing it, and I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to start owning my life.
Right.
For me, it was about kind of like when I made the first videotape. I wanted Smitty to be the wrestler, and my dream was I was going to manage him.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't want to do it, I figured, screw it, I'll just manage myself. And then at that exact moment when Magnum told me I was too over the top for be a manager, and I could still be the color commentator on the fourth string show, I visioned the next guy that retires, takes that spot, and I'm out. What did you get in this business for when you were 23? It was to be a wrestler. Forget the age. Forget everything. You have the mental ability to do whatever you want. So that's what's on my brain. And I've made that decision. I'm going to go down to power plant. I'm going to learn how to wrestle. Now, remember.
Yeah. And how old are you at this point?
35.
You've been 35 and a half. Okay.
So we're in Chattanooga, and I only know because I remember the curtain is blue. It's plastic and it's blue. And that's their colors. Bottom line is, their music's playing as they're walking up. And I go, you guys heard it's my last night managing you, right? And they were super empathetic. They're like, yeah, man, sorry, bro. Yeah, I know, hey, you gave it your best shot. Super nice. Yeah. And then I said, it is what it is. I go, I got 7 months left of my contract. I'm going to go on a power plant. I'm going to learn how to wrestle. And they looked at each other and went from being empathetic to laughing their ass off.
No kidding.
Fell on the ground laughing, right? I gave him both the finger and went to the ring.
Right.
So that was in 1990, okay? So now it's 1996. And I have this match with Sting.
Yeah.
And Sting really gave me a lot. And he let me call the match out there. And it was our, probably with the top guy, it was my first really good, I wouldn't say great, but really good match.
Okay.
But for my level, where I was, it would have been great of anything I had done up till then. And felt really good about it. And got home. And I was getting ready to walk out the door, and I heard the answer machine go off, and I was just going to let it go to answer machine. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Back when those existed.
And right as I'm about to walk out the door, I hear, "Hey, pay ass. Hey." When he starts talking, I go, "That's Michael." I ain't talked to him since he left WCW, went to WWF as one of the writers. I ran to the phone, I pick up, I go, "Hey, Mike, what's up, bro?" He goes, "God damn. Son of a bitch. I go, Mike, you all right? You all right? Son, God." I go, "Mike, are you okay?" He's like, "Yes, Paige, I'm fine. He says, "You know, sometimes you call somebody, you just want to leave a message." He said, "Yeah. You want me to hang up so you can call back with a message?" No. Son of a bitch. He's like, I got to be honest with you, Paige. Watched your match last night. Everybody did up here. And I got to be honest with you. I have never been so happy to eat crow. You're doing it, kid. I'm proud of you." Click, and he hung up me. And it was a defining moment in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you one other call because I got to go and leave you with this. That was in 1996, January. January of 1997, I get a call. And you have to understand that Jake Roberts watched all my matches, all my videos, everything for years. From 91, from 93, 92, 93 to 96. And I hadn't seen him in a year, talked to him or anything. 97, I get a phone call. I pick up the phone, I hear, "Congratulations." I go, "Jake, is that you?" Yeah. I go, "Congratulations for what, bro?" He says, "Reinventing the DDT. Proud of you." Like, that was like my first world championship.
Oh, man.
Having the guy who I think is one of the very best tell me that I did what he did.
Yeah. Well, and like going back to that day in the bar.
Yes.
Just think, it's just like full circle. And I don't even know how many years must have passed between them, but like just how incredible.
Yeah, that would have been 4. That would have been like 12 years.
Well, there's gotta be a movie at some point. Like, this story is just too good.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
Man. Hey, Dallas, man, I appreciate this so much. This has been such a blast. And you being so gracious with your time, man, and for everything that you're doing to help people. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Well, thank you, man. So why don't we do this? I'm going to send you Relentless.
Oh, yeah, please.
Once it comes out, get a hold of Marlon. He'll set it up again. Then we'll talk about Relentless. In the meantime, you start doing those jacked workouts, all right?
Yeah, man.
And
I will. You know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to record them, and I'm going to post when this comes out as well. I'm going to post me doing some of that stuff, and it'll be fun, man.
All right, brother.